So what I used to do is I used to push harder with what didn't work because I thought that was discipline. I thought more energy, more power. I used to think discipline was about how I treated myself when I didn't want to do things or when I had to do things that I didn't want to do. Now I'm starting to think discipline is about what you do when you're alone with yourself. The deep, dark secrets. We all believe that nobody's watching us, but who's really watching when that comes down to it? Who watches you when nobody's watching you? You watch yourself. So what do you do when you're alone with yourself? I'm making garden soil today. Yeah, so what we do, is this discipline? Great question. So we put 4 shovels of dirt, 2 shovels of horse poop, horse shit. I'm shoveling horse shit today, just in case you didn't know. And we put a shovel and a half of vermiculite. We put a cup and a half of bone meal and 1 cup of blood meal. As you can tell, you'll see soon here what we're doing, but we're talking about discipline. So it's not about always doing things you don't want to do. And I could double that batch too, by the way, or add a shovel here and there to get the perfect mix. This is pretty cool, vermiculite. Stuff works amazing for water moisture retention in the soil. Then we got a little bit of bone meal. So bone meal gets basically 2 cups. One cup of bone meal, because I'm cutting it in half. So we put a cup of bone meal, pinch for 1 inch. And then I need blood meal today. I don't even know what that is. Actually, what is blood meal? Blood meal. It's an excellent source of nitrogen for your plants, for your gardens, for your vegetables. So you come here wanting to know more about discipline, and I'm teaching you about garden soil and stuff, right? Wow. Maybe I'm not teaching. I hope in the comments you could comment whether or not this is a good mix. Again, it's topsoil, clean, strained, no rocks, topsoil, cow manure, vermiculite, bone meal, blood meal. Then we mix it all up. So back to discipline for a minute. How do I show up? Do I show up on time? Do I show up regularly? Do I show up consistently? Consistency seems to be one of the best ways to judge whether or not you're disciplined. Anybody, and I mean anybody, could do anything once. You put your mind to it, you can do it once. It's repeating the stuff that works that matters. But more importantly, I'd say it's about being disciplined to not do the stuff that didn't work. What I mean by that, if I try something once and the results don't work, I don't want to do that again. Sometimes never. Sometimes maybe later. Depends on where my life is at the moment. But typically when I get negative consequences and I keep doing it over and over and over again, that's kind of a form of maybe narcissism, right? Treating myself poorly in situations that I'm hoping to gain momentum or strength from. So what I used to do is I used to push harder with what didn't work because I thought that was discipline. I thought more energy, more power. But the thought that got me the results of not working is the same thought that will get me the results of not working. So if I do more of what's not working, I get more of what's not working, the results I don't want to have. So if I do things I don't want to do or that I don't like to do just because I have to do them, that's not discipline. It's more of a form of control. The environment says, oh, men have to behave in a certain way. They have to be masculine. You don't want to cry, right? Men don't cry. Well, that ain't always true. I was on a call this morning with a guy who let loose. Very intimate situation. It was actually amazing, the outcome. And we cried. I welled up, he cried. Those aren't great results. But the release in that and being disciplined enough to realize that that will help you, that's the amazing part here. Doing things I don't want to do because I have to do them, it's horrible. That's a horrible way to live. If you think you're doing it out of love, I got stuck in here. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So if you're doing something you don't want to do because you think someone else will love you more, they aren't going to love you more. Did you see that? Good thing my head wasn't there. I'll say that again. If you do something because you think someone will love you more, it'll actually make them love you less. When you're genuine and you act from the heart gets felt. And when you're not so genuine and you act from, if I do this, I'll get that, and you're always chasing the results. For example, if I had more money, I'd be more happy. If only I had a nicer house, things would be better for me. And then you chase those things with false pretenses, meaning that your energy that's going into them, because you're chasing the physical thing more. So you're following your mind because what you've been taught says that if I have money, I can do this. Like, for example, money will make me happy. I'm not saying we don't need money to get through life. What I'm saying is that when the happiness comes first and the discipline to create the happiness in all aspects, in all areas, at all moments in your life, when that comes first, the money will follow. And if you don't put the happiness before the money and you chase the money to become happy, it don't work like that, because what you're getting is money. You're not getting the happiness. See, the same amount of energy needs to go in money as it goes into happiness. They are two of the different thing, but they're similar in the same way because we create those in our lives. Like, we create our happiness. So what do you do when you're alone with yourself and no one's watching? That's where the actual magic happens. Skipping the hard things because you want an easier, softer way makes it harder in the long run. And the reason we feel that we need an easier, softer way isn't because we're afraid of doing hard work. See, middle-aged men, holistic men, they already know this trick. They know that being disciplined enough to do the hard things show better results. And we stop ourselves because of fear. We don't do the hard things because we're afraid of the unknown. See, our lives, we like to be comfortable. Everything about our being makes us want to be more comfortable. Comfortable, negative is less risky than positive, unknown. I'm mixing this. That batch was a little small. It'll take me all day to do it, so I'm making a little bigger batch. Bone meal, blood meal. Back to that thought. So we do things that make us comfortable, but not because we're lazy, but because we're afraid that the hard things will show up in a different way in our lives. It's like owning a house. If you don't maintain it, you don't take care of it, you don't upkeep it, you don't clean it, you don't put oil in the furnace or gas in the tank to heat and cool it, you don't pay the electric bill, the house starts falling apart. It's not fragile. The house is not fragile. But when you start to neglect it, it starts to diminish. It starts to treat you negatively. Harder work. So this is the point. The neglect compounds. It adds up. Meaning day 1, you don't vacuum. Day 30, you still haven't vacuumed. Now you got an inch of dirt on the floor. And now you got to get a broom and a shovel just to get the heavy stuff up before you start to vacuum. So the work compounds. What I'm trying to say here is that if you're consistent on a daily basis and do consistent, esteemable actions, you become a better person. Your life will get easier by doing the hard stuff in small steps. So it's not about waiting for repairs to happen so you have to fix it. It's more about respecting it enough to take care of it regularly, even when it might not need it. So in this case, the house is you. How do you take care of yourself? Because that's where the true discipline starts. I planted a bunch of peas here last night. It's almost that time of year. It's a really nice day today. I'm glad I got this kind of weather. I'm glad I'm taking the time to finally, hard winter, really hard and long. There's a lot of chaos going on out there. I'm gonna have the biggest, I'll show you, the biggest and best tomatoes this year. So, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that discipline is about mixing this soil so I have a really ripe and juicy tomato. Because if you try to plant something on asphalt or concrete, it's not fertile soil, your chances are less. The discipline is taking the effort and putting it up front. Putting the effort in first. A little at a time. A little at a time. That's when the results show. Maybe you guys know a better way. Can you see me over here? Maybe you guys know a better way to do this. Comment below. Better way. Oh, by the way, there's a link in there. There's a link in the description for a one-on-one. We can talk about this discipline stuff or any other topic. So I don't think I've been lacking discipline. I just think I've been lacking respect for myself. And I'm working on that. Come join me. See ya.